Let's do some PySpark. First 50% of records from dataset. This question appeared in the interviews of Amazon and Bosch. In this question, they're simply asking, find the first half or first 50% of records of this dataset. So we have this table, or let's call it, we have this data frame here called worker. And from that data frame, we are looking for first half or first 50% of records from that data frame. Okay, so let's say we have 16 records in the data frame. They're looking for first 8 of those records. Okay, sounds like a pretty simple question. Let's see how we can approach this in PySpark. By the way, I have these solutions in SQL and Pandas as well. If you want to go check that out, please feel free. But in this one, I'll be using PySpark. So first thing first, let's explore this data frame here. So import PySpark, and let's see what we have in our data frame. So worker.show, and let's see what we get. So we have this data set here: worker ID, first name, last name, salary, joining date, and department. Okay, so they're looking for first 50% of records, right? So what I'm going to be doing here essentially is I'll be creating a column here. So that's my approach. I'll be creating a column here called row number. I'll be labeling the rows from 1, 2, 3, and so on. So every record will have a row number assigned to it. By the way, you can say like, oh, why? But we have worker ID here, this column here that has row numbers already, right? The thing is, I don't want to rely on that worker ID column, this one here, because what if this worker's ID changes or some new ID comes in with, let's say, a very abstract number like 99 or 150 or something like that. I don't want to rely on this column here. That's why I'm creating my own column from scratch, and I'll be assigning row numbers to it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Okay, so I'll be assigning those, and then since they're asking for first 50% of records, what I'll do is I'll do a count of the data frame. So right now in this data frame, I can see there are 12 records, right? So what is 12 divided by 2? That's 6. So that means 50% of records will be 6 records, right? So we will have records from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? Including 6. So yeah, that will give us the first 50% of records. So let's begin. So first thing first, as I mentioned, I'll be adding a column here. So I'll be adding a column, but before that, as I said, I'll be using row number, which is actually a window function. How do we add window functions in PySpark? It's very similar to how we add window functions in SQL. So because you can just add a column here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You will have to use some sort of function here, and I'm using window function. So how a window function works in PySpark, you have to specify window first. So first thing, you have to specify window specification. Okay, and after you have specified the window specification, then you can use that window to create your window function. So first thing first, window spec. Let's assign this to this variable here. Window, by the way, I'll have to import this utility here from PySpark.sql.window import window, and I'll be using that window here. Okay, so Window.orderBy, and let's order this by worker ID. Okay, so this will create our window. This will be window spec. This is our specification of our window, ordering by worker ID in ascending order. Obviously, since we have not specified anything explicitly, that means this will be a window which will be ordered by worker ID in ascending order. That means from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. After this, let's now create that column that we were talking about called row number. So it will be worker dot. How do you create a column in PySpark? You use DataFrame.with column. what's the name of that column? Let's call it row number. And now we will use our window function using that window we just defined. Row number. By the way, this guy here, row number, this is actually coming from a function here. This is not the column name. This is actually a built-in utility. Okay, so from PySpark.SQL.functions import row number. So this row number is actually a PySpark function. Okay, this one here. This is the name of the column. Okay, just to make sure that you understand that. So yeah, so row number over what's over that window spec we just defined. So window spec, this will create our new column now. So we can check that by using worker.show. And let's see. And there you have it. You have that new column now. Now this will make our life so much easier. Okay. So what did I say? I created my column. Now I need a way to find the count of this data frame. How can I do that? In PySpark, you can do that using worker.count. This will give you the count of all the records that you have. So right now we have 12 records, so we have that now. Okay, so this is worker.count. You know what? Let's just save this into a variable here. Let's assign this to worker count. We can use this afterwards. And now let's do our filtration. So in PySpark, you do filtration using DataFrame.filter. Okay, and now inside that you will say worker.row number less than, I'm going to explain this to you what's going on here. Worker.row number less than equal to worker count, which we just defined, which was 12 for our case right now, divided by 2. So what's going on here? So worker.filter gives us a new data frame, a filtered data frame based on this condition here. What is the condition? Condition is worker count divided by 2, which is 6. So give me all the rows up until the 6. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. As soon as it hits 6, because 6 less than equals 6, you will get all the records till 6. Okay, if it's 7 here, you won't get that because 7 is not less than equals 6. So you will get 6 records here based on this condition and based on this filtration method. And you know what? Let's save that into this worker equals worker. Okay, and now let's see what we have. Let's do worker.show. And as you can see here, now we have 6 records. Okay, that's what we want. I think we're very, very close to it. We're very, very close to our solution. The only thing here is we used this helper column here, row number, which was not in original data set. So we will have to remove this column now. Okay, so let's remove this. How do you remove a column in PySpark? You do worker.drop. What's the column name? It's row number. So you do worker.drop row number, and let's assign this to worker. And now let's do worker.show, and we should not have that column anymore. So awesome. So we use the helper function. Sorry, not the helper function. We use the helper column to help us out with our problem here, and we removed that column afterwards. So we have that now. And you know what? We don't need the show anymore. For this checker to work, so that they can check the solution, then we need to convert this PySpark data frame to pandas data frame. So let's do this. You don't have to do this in real world, but for this specific problem checker, they have to do it this way. So okay, so worker.pandas, this will convert our PySpark worker data frame to pandas data frame. Let's run that, and let's see if this is the right answer. And that is the right answer. So essentially we used a window function to create our column called row number, right? After that, we did a count of all the records that we had in that PySpark data frame. And then we did our filtration on that data frame using worker.filter. And we had this condition here that, hey, give me all the records which are less than equals half of that count. And then afterwards, we remove that helper column, worker.drop row number, and that's it.